You're listening to the Wanderlust Swingers podcast with Aussie hosts Kate and Daryl. If you're curious about exploring your sexuality or the swinging, hotwifing and non-monogamous lifestyle, you've definitely come to the right podcast. Or maybe you just love travel adventures. Either way, we share our personal, sometimes juicy, sexy stories as well as swingers club and event reviews, interviews with other sassy people, and of course our global swinging adventures. We try to bring you a look into the diverse lifestyle that the swinging and non-monogamous community has. We hope you enjoy. Now let's get into the episode. G'day guys and welcome back to the Wanderlust Swingers. This is episode 158 and we're going to be talking about our week at Hedonism. We went to Jamaica for 7 nights, so if you want to listen to our full review of Hedonism as a kind of resort destination, head over and check out the last episode. And if you think about heading to Jamaica, do consider going with our friends, the Casual Swinger podcast. But this episode is all about our week on site, what went on in our adventures. But Daryl, are you ready for the cultural tidbit?
Yes.
The last one I did for Jamaica was a little bit of a Debbie Downer.
Yes, it was.
So this one, I think this is probably going to be one of those, like everybody knows this, but I figured I'd mention it anyway. So since 2015, ganja has been decriminalised, and while smoking weed in public is still illegal and punishable with a fine of Jamaican $500, you may have up to 2 ounces for personal use without it getting on your criminal record.
Whoa.
There you go.
That's also a Debbie Downer.
Well, not really, because like it's decriminalised and stuff. You can still smoke it for personal use.
Pot's
it's not public.
considered a downer.
Oh,
I think. I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
I think it's a downer.
They do have
uppers and downers.
They have Hedo on site, which we did frequent.
Well, frequent's probably a bit of a fucking stretch.
We went there once.
Yes. Frequent is obviously higher frequency, I would imagine, than once.
Cash only, which was actually a little bit irritating, but, you know.
Not really a surprise.
Not really a surprise.
Given it's decriminalised, likely means that they can't use banks. It's not legal.
That's true.
So likely banks don't accept money from decriminalised activities.
Look at you one-upping my cultural tidbit with, you know.
I don't know that to be true. That could totally not be a fact. Yeah, why not? I mean, it's...
Because we're podcasters, so everything we say is gospel.
Fucking absolutely.
Correct and accurate and knowledgeable.
Yep, except when it isn't.
Except when we're lying.
Which is,
You'll have to guess.
Yeah.
So, hey, I'm going to do this disclaimer again because, quite frankly, I know there's a lot of misinformation out there, but to clear up any uneducated assumptions, no one has sponsored this event, our travel, or a visit to Hedonism. The only people who sponsored this event were the delightful folks at our credit card company. Right. Shall we go and get into the episode?
Well, we didn't use our credit card, though.
Yeah, we did. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but we used our credit card.
Yeah.
But that's just because it's easier.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not that we hocked shit up on a credit card to be able to go there.
I did hock up quite a few things.
Yeah, I know, but they
one of them
also
being a charter flight.
But then we just paid them.
Back.
Yeah, it's just our friends at Visa have a broader span of places we can pay, or Mastercard. I don't really give a fuck who you use, by the way.
Anyway,
or Maestro.
Point is, we paid for the event. Nobody else did. Good.
Trying to think of who else is out there. Diners.
Oh, God. That's old person, isn't it?
No, it isn't. Still used. It depends on which country you're in.
Still fucking hobbling along on 2 fingers, clawing its way
very well.
out of the dust.
Exceedingly well. Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Holler at me if you got a Diners Club card. I want to hear about it. Day one is obviously the arrival day. Most people come in, they're pretty knackered. That's just how kind of travel works.
Yeah, because you've travelled the 4 hours to get there from the continental US. So you're totally fucked.
For your cheap $150.
Totally worn out.
Look, I don't want to say, wah, cry for me if you're one of those people that are so close. Casual swinger looking at you. But travel day is really not a big thing, I guess, from some locations. But for us, a travel day is generally consisting of anywhere from 18 to 25, 26 hours. So we arrived hella early. And I have to say, this day was actually probably my favourite day. It's up there as one of my favourite days.
The first day? Okay.
For me, obviously we had some bumpy bits in terms of the checking in and knowing where you can go and listen to that in the last episode. But the energy for me on this day, I think, was electric. And this is generally what happens. People come in on their first day and they just go hard because everyone's super excited to see each other, right? So it's like electric. It's really energetic. It's great.
Sounds electric.
But the pool party, so it was probably the most fun we had in the pool party all week as well. And I'll tell you a few things that...
I mean, you're speaking for both of us, though. You can't just fucking throw it out there for me as well.
The most fun I had in the pool all week, and we'll see if you're matching...
We'll see. We'll fucking see.
Okay, I'll give you some highlights because we've obviously got a lot to cover, and I don't want to kind of do this step-by-step thing, but one of my favourite things was passing Mrs. Honeyspoon around like a birthday gift. Pass the parcel.
Yeah, but there wasn't anything to unwrap because she was
already
naked.
Yeah, she was naked.
So there wasn't anything to unwrap.
But that was fun. She's only a wee little thing and she can't stand up in the pool without it just kind of...
She could be. She can, but she just looks like a head bobbing on the water.
Yeah, and then the minute anyone tries to move or a slight wave comes
constantly complaining about her calves hurting, you know?
So we were holding her and I had her around my waist and stuff like that, and it was just a lot of fun and kind of... I don't know, just kind of cheeky and stuff like that. But she did start rubbing her pussy on my leg at one point in time. So that was definite highlight for me. And also the three-way kiss between what I'm going to call Mr. Jeans, Honeyspoon, and myself was a real turn on and a real delight. And I will say he went very hard on this day and was dancing, naked, dick flaying by the pool. And we had this amazing, what I thought was amazing, three-way kiss. Spoke to him the next day at breakfast over coffee.
Doesn't remember it.
Doesn't remember a fucking thing.
Yeah.
So I guess, lesson learned is that sometimes something really sexy to you maybe just, doesn't even hit the radar of Mr. Jeans.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Which I'll continue to give him shit about.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's how it should be.
What about you for that first kind of pool party day?
Fucking hell. I mean, you're stretching my memory here, Bob. I think I remember being at Hedo. I remember there was some weird shit going on at the side of the pool. Like you said, Mr. Jeans, I was exposed to his penis doing circle work, which was, I wouldn't say exciting, but certainly intriguing. I mean, it had a good circle on it.
It did have a good circle.
I'm not surprised he didn't remember anything.
Yeah. Didn't he bring a bottle of whiskey in on the bus?
He drank a few shots of whiskey coming in on the bus, yes. So he was already, at least a couple of sheets to the wind before arrival. Not to say, I've got to say, he holds his booze quite well. So it's not that he was sloppy drunk. He was just a little bit boozed. But I think everybody was at the end of that day. It was a pretty big day. Again, the typical overshoot on day one, where everybody gets a little carried away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was the typical overshoot. So dinner that night, we actually went to Flame Restaurant, which was situated up near the pool. Now, one of my highlights from that was Mrs. Honeyspoon crawling across the table seductively towards Mickey.
Flame Restaurant is now like that's now reopened down on the beach. For those of you who don't know, it was up on the up beside the pool deck,
the leader
main
deck.
area.
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's the poop deck. Yeah, so it was up there for a while just because they were renovating Flame on the beach. So it was still called that restaurant, but it wasn't in that restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah, so Mrs. Honeyspoon kind of crawling seductively across the table towards Mickey was definite highlight.
I'm glad it was just her because if it was me, the table would have fucking collapsed.
Yeah, they didn't seem that sturdy. Like when
They're fucking plastic tables,
yeah.
man. I mean, it would have ended well if I decided to crawl across the table.
Or poorly.
No, well.
Okay.
For most of the people there, because I would have fallen down, hurt myself. Everyone would be like, "Thank fuck, he's out of the picture now. We can concentrate on trying to fuck Kate."
Yeah, but they were, I don't want to say rickety, but certainly they weren't really weight bearing.
No, not weight-bearing tables.
And definitely, I think if you were trying to get up there and there was two people, that would have been a bad situation. So Mickey stands up and he's getting ready to do a speech. And I'm actually standing next to Mr. Our Sexy Social, and I turn to him and I'm like, oh, watch this. He's going to do the I love you man speech, because obviously there's 20 of us around, I think, roughly. Everybody's really lovely, and I expect that he's going to get up and do the I love you, man. I can't believe you guys flew all the way to Jamaica. Let's make this week amazing for each other.
I can't believe everyone flew all the way to Jamaica.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And just kind of do the I love you, man speech. But instead, it was a don't drink the water and walk on your own safety message speech, which I gave Mickey shit about, obviously. So, yeah, that was definitely another highlight for me.
Okay. I mean...
One of my lessons learned, I have to say, for this, and definitely for Hedo as a general rule, but for this night, I've got a lessons learned here, which was, I don't know what your opinion was, I think we definitely should have played this night, and we should have set our intentions to not let the kind of sparkles wear off, because I think that there was, like I said before, high energy, interest, and we should have done something that we should have collectively, as the people who wanted to play, should have done something about this night.
I agree. In fact, I kind of pushed you to do that in the evening. I said we should we should we should invite some people who we find interesting either to our room or somewhere else.
That was later because I do have the rejection, non-rejection section coming up very soon that you can maybe talk about. So that was day one. Went to bed. I mean, it was pretty late. We partied pretty hard that day, but went to bed. Next morning, we got off site. Now, one of the things that we try to do when we go to anything like this is get off site, right? Fair?
Well, yeah. I mean, you travel to somewhere else in the world, there's no real use staying on site the whole time, because if you do, you don't get to experience any of the local culture.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason that certainly I travel. I know you're much more okay with drinking, sitting in the sun and rinsing and repeating for the next day. But for me, I need more than that.
But yeah, so this day we went off site, went to Rick's, which is one of the really famous spots, I guess, in this particular area of Negril where people can do the cliff dive. It was about $50 for the driver.
It was $50 US dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he would stay basically 4 hours for you.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So we did actually, however, stop at the Best in the West, and we got some jerk chicken on the drive back.
We did.
Because obviously you're going to Jamaica.
We also, we were at you've kind of breezed over the entire time we were at the place.
Well, how did you feel about Rick's? We had 2 drinks, we had some pretty shit ordinary lunch, and then you did a cliff dive and we left.
Yeah, okay, so that's it. I mean, but you said nothing about it. It's like it didn't exist. It was fucking hot.
You did a cliff dive. We overpaid for it all, and then we left.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Hang on. Let's just explain that, though. It is a tourist place, right? I mean, it's expected that you're going to overpay.
Yeah.
And it's kind of expected that food's not going to be spectacular because that's how tourist places work.
General price of things, though, for a developing country, I was pretty surprised at the prices. Like, okay, take the jerk chicken, which, by the way, we bought ourselves some jerk chicken and the driver jerk chicken. Mm-hmm. And this is side-of-the-road jerk chicken. This is not like stopping in at a really fine dining restaurant or anything. This is jerk chicken from the side of the road, cooked in a barrel, as it should be. By the way, I did find the link, so if you are going to Jamaica, I'll put the link below in the show notes. But that was $25 US.
Yes, for
two portions of
two
chicken.
Fucking chickens.
It wasn't 2 whole chickens.
Sorry, I got a half. So sorry, it was 2 chickens. Sorry, a chicken. Full chicken.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and some beans and rice, and it was $25 US for a side of the road food, which I don't know. It's for me, if I'm comparing it to like places around Asia Pacific, and I'm thinking developing countries around Asia Pacific, like side of the road food, $5-10 at max.
Yeah, but when was the last time you bought a whole fucking chicken at the side of the road?
I don't normally, but...
So now I'll just round this up to full chicken because normally you get a leg or a couple of wings.
So you think that price is fair and reasonable?
I think it's okay.
Yeah, okay. I'm being a cheapskate then. I just don't understand how Jamaicans are affording that sort of.
They're not. They're going to the other places that aren't fucking globally renowned as the place to get jerk chicken.
Probably true. So we had dinner on site that night at the Italian restaurant. We went to the club. We did go to the club. Now,
to the nightclub.
The thing about Hedo, not, I guess, receiving the tour and not kind of getting any kind of set schedule or anything, we had no idea of when things were open or things were closed or whatever, and I actually didn't even know the place had a club. So I think at one point during dinner, maybe somebody was like, oh, the nightclub opens tonight. Let's all go down to the nightclub. And I was like, they've got a nightclub, and what?
The nightclub was great because it was air conditioned.
Yes. Now, you were dancing up a storm.
Because it was air conditioned.
Yeah.
I didn't dance any other time the whole time we were there because the rest of the time we were not in air conditioning.
I think you were on the dance floor with maybe Mrs. Honeyspoon or something. I mean,
I was there with her, but there was others. I mean, I was dancing with everyone. Yeah, the whole group that we were there with were all dancing together, and there were other people as well who dance in and dance out, and yeah, it was just a standard dance floor with a lot of people. Doing dancey shit.
What do you think of the club? Because I don't actually think we spoke.
I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice, actually. I like that there's sort of 2 areas. So there's an area where the dance floor itself is, which is where the music is pumping fairly heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Then you could walk into where the bar is, and it's not separate, but there's only there's a doorway, effectively, a wide doorway in between the two that gives it a bit of distance.
Yeah.
And just a little noise suppression, so you can actually chat quite easily around.
Yeah, the little alcovey things, like little cubby houses kind of. Yeah,
which were full of air conditioning.
That's what you remember from that. Now, I was actually hanging back. I was hanging back chatting. My back was actually really, really sore, and I was on like pain medication like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, like you were on day one. which is the reason that we didn't play.
Yeah.
Or at least that's the reason you offered.
Actually, it was the reason why.
Yes.
I'm remembering now.
I know.
I've never been in so much bloody pain.
Which is why I said to you that, because we said that night, and even the night we're talking about now, the second night, we had kind of gone with the intent of potentially playing, but you again were in a lot of pain, so we didn't.
Yeah. I had an alarm set on my phone for the distance between taking medication, so I could make sure that I'm getting it exactly as I could actually.
It's almost like hunching over like a dog fucking a tennis ball on a plane for 8 hours is not good for you.
Now I was in the bar chatting. Now I was actually chatting to M, and it was really fucking hard to concentrate because he had this massive Jack Sparrow hat on. Do you remember that? And I was like, how the fuck did you pack it? But yeah, massive Jack Sparrow hat because it was sailor night, so. Yeah. That was impressive.
Yeah.
Because most people with their sailor outfits, like they were wearing tiny little sailor outfits that you can pack in a Ziploc bag.
I feel like a Jack Sparrow hat, though, can be crumpled and uncrumpled. And still be very Jackie Sparrow-esque.
That's true. It's probably, if you're thinking about going as like a full-on piratey sailor.
I feel like him could pull off the Jack Sparrow walk as well.
I reckon he could actually too, now that I'm thinking about it. So
we should challenge him to that the next time we see him.
Jack Sparrow walk.
Yeah, I think he could do it, totally.
Hey, fun thing.
I'll be the judge of that.
So we happened to be there with the Not Your Averages, Mr. and Mrs., and they sent in some audio.
Did they?
Yeah, so about their time on site. So I'm going to play their audio now, and then we'll come back and we'll chat about what they said.
Hey, Kate, it's the Not Your Averages coming live from the hot tub, trying to be cool like the Honey Spoons, maybe get some water splashing in the background. We've got some things to talk about with Hedo. The most surprising thing, what do you think?
How quickly it felt completely normal to be naked. Yeah. And how weird it felt to be clothed after you were used to being naked.
Yeah. Like if you'd get ready to go out or something and you're hanging out, getting ready to leave, and everybody's naked but you. You feel awkward and out of place.
So weird.
I felt really comfortable, but I also had this constant nagging worry that I'd walk out of my room to go refill our water bottles. And the staff member would run up to me and be like, oh, no, not on Thursdays. Thursdays is when we have people come in to fix things. And, I'm always just assuming I'm going to get in trouble. But, it is what it is. What about the least fun or good thing? I can tell you what mine was. That we didn't find out those amazing playrooms had showers until the last night. Because that particular thing was a real barrier to play, because I love the nude pool, loved hanging out at the nude pool. Didn't exactly feel comfortable playing because, I don't know about you, but I like a little bit of a freshen up before any kind of activities so that I just feel comfortable about myself. And
yes, definitely a freshen up after the pool.
Yeah, just splash a little water on my face, but not out of that pool. So, once we discovered there were showers, that was a big game changer. Too bad it came on the last night. And that kind of runs us into the sexiest thing. I really think when we went to the playroom with a group and got to just be part of that very amazing environment with people that we really like, that was awesome. That was the sexiest thing.
Yeah, the playroom was really sexy, and being able to go with people that you know around you makes it even better.
Particular moment for me is when we were taking a break because everybody got too warm in the very cold, what we thought was hot tub, but the water was very cold. So you were just standing there at the edge of the tub with one leg up. I can picture the pose right now in the blue light. It's frozen in my mind. It was incredibly hot. So,
glad you liked it.
Yeah, I think that kind of sums it up. Man, if the Hedo people would just give a tour of the facilities and walk you around and show you important details like, hey, here's a shower right next to the playroom. So when you get out of the pool where you're feeling just a little bit sticky, yeah, it'd be nice to have known that. Because honestly, at like 2 a.m. when you get out of the pool after drinking for many, many hours, when you go back to your room for a shower, if you're like us, you have trouble going anywhere else after 2. Anything you'd like to add?
No, it was a great trip.
Oh, that was the key. More important than the location is the people.
Absolutely.
Traveling
the best people.
With the very best people. That includes you, Kate
Love
and
you,
Daryl.
Kate.
Yep,
Love you,
love
Daryl.
you.
So how do you feel about the freshen up there, Daryl?
What is this freshen up that we're talking about? I've never heard of such a thing.
What do you think generally about the Mr. and Mrs. Not Your Averages kind of experience there?
Well, it sounds like they had fun.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Mirrors us a little bit in terms of what they were trying to say, but yeah.
I think so. I think we missed out on a number of play sessions, though, for other reasons. Like, for example, your spine, for some reason, the only time in history that you've ever had any back pain, other than, standard everyday sort of, I've done something stupid and now I have back pain.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first time you've ever had back pain, and you certainly, there were, I think, 3 days. In the 3 days of the 7, you were in too much pain, really, to even contemplate playing.
Yeah.
And then the 4th day, you left it too late. It was like 4 a.m. and you went, I've decided that I'm not at my best and I'll probably fall asleep while somebody else is fucking me. So
which is exactly what the Not Your Averages just said. By the time you get back to the room to freshen up and shower off and everything, and then you're going to go play.
Yeah, but that wasn't the problem.
If you're already doing that at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, like, it just adds to it as opposed to just being like, let's go play now.
But you were already, okay.
Yeah, knackered. They actually sent me another file, which I haven't even listened to yet, because something sparked their memory. So I'm going to go ahead and play that and see what else they have to say.
I was listening to the Hotwife Diaries and heard something that reminded me of what I found to be an incredibly hot moment in Jamaica and quite memorable. So I'm just hanging out in the pool, minding my own business, and a certain Miss Milford goes to get drinks for a lot of us. And when she gets back, she's carrying like 6 drinks, and you know how you kind of have to squat down to set down the drinks all at once so you don't drop them. And I was eye level and couldn't look away, and she looked up and saw that I was mesmerized, and I forget exactly what she said, but it was something like, oh, well, something about that. It must be quite a fucking view or something. I can't remember what it was. It was great, though. And so we both got a laugh out of it, but it's a moment and a view that I've certainly thought about since. Thanks, Kate. See ya.
Pervert.
Yes. I concur.
I mean, okay, let's talk about the whole being nude in public thing.
Let's talk about how Daryl's part of this group as well.
To be fair, I'm the one who asked them to send the audio in, so come on.
Gotcha. Yeah. Just remember me, people.
Oh, just cheers for Daryl.
Yeah. Most people can't forget me because they find me endearing or obnoxious, one of the two. So
yeah, that's true. Sometimes a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. But being naked in public and being naked at a lifestyle resort, this comes up in confidence so often. And as does one of the things of like, can you look at other people when they're nude? How do you feel about looking at people when you're at a resort like this and everybody's nude? Like, is there etiquette on staring? Is there etiquette on looking at their junk? Like, what's your general thoughts on?
I think very quickly it passes, but certainly I do have a distinct memory of I think 4 of the 10 couples we were with on the first day. We went down to look at the nude pool, and we walked down there clothed, turned around and walked back, and they were walking down to the nude pool nude. And I distinctly remember seeing them all and thinking, "Fucking hell, I don't want to have to take my clothes off around these cunts."
Yeah,
because they're all gorgeous.
Yeah,
but. I mean, and we found this out through the event as well, every single one of those couples and individuals also has their body confidence issues as well. They just happen to embrace it a little earlier than I did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was, I think it's one of those things that fades fairly quickly, and it doesn't even, the whole looking at people's bits, as long as it's not overt and inappropriate.
Yeah. Well, what defines that? What's the difference between,
the person who you're looking at?
Right. Whatever their thoughts on the matter are. It's true. It's really hard to gauge then, because you could look at somebody's junk and they're just like, cool, woo, junk. And then you look at somebody else's junk and they're like, hey, please stop looking at my junk. So how do you...
And you can accidentally brush against somebody's junk in the pool, and somebody will find that horrific.
Yeah.
And I mean, accidental is by definition accidental, but it still doesn't mean it's appropriate.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It's still accidental.
Yeah.
And then you get other people who I mean, it's just another thing floating past them in the pool. It's not a concern. So yeah, it's a difficult tightrope to walk without asking everybody in the pool for consent every time you walk past them.
Yeah, that's true.
And in some cases, it's a very tight space. When the pool's full. It's actually very difficult, especially, I mean, I think as a woman, the top half is going to make its way around the pool. You're going to rub breasts against against a whole lot of people. Mm-hmm. As a guy, you end up with your penis rubbing against a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
Not that you try to achieve that. I mean, certainly, unless you're a fucking pervert, you don't try to achieve that. So, yeah, I think but the whole body confidence thing is just, it's standard. I think we've run over that so many times in our podcast now. Everybody thinks they're fucking ugly.
Yeah.
No matter who they are. Everyone has a problem when they look in the mirror.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, if you look in the mirror every day and you think there's something wrong for the entirety of your life, then that's probably a good reason to seek some
professional help.
Some help. But if you look occasionally and find yourself and say, hey, I'm actually feeling good about how I look today,
pretty normal.
Probably normal.
Yeah.
Quote, unquote, normal, like the rest of us.
Okay. So the next day we spent a lot of our time on this next day as a sixsome with the honey spoons and the Indudas, and I really felt privileged to be able to spend some downtime with them all. But what I will remark on, one of my takeaways from this day is that Induda was the third person to comment that they enjoyed the quote-unquote relaxed Kate, and that it was just so nice to hang out naked, act foolish, tell jokes, laugh and be weirdos, etc., because the times that they have spent with me have maybe been at my events or I've been working, things like that. So it was great to spend some just personal time with the six of us, kind of being a bit silly, running around the event, kind of drinking, dancing and being foolish and making jokes. But I did find it funny that they were the third person to comment about this version of Relaxed Kate.
Yeah, well, not Relaxed Kate is a bit of a bitch.
Not Relaxed Kate is a bitch, eh? Come to my events where I'm not Relaxed Kate and you can witness me being a bitch.
Yes.
Oh, man. We had dinner that night at the buffet. I actually sat next to Em and Jay from Carolina, and we chatted about travel and water and the ocean and everything. And they were really, really interesting. They have dogs, they love travel, and I just really enjoyed also that time to kind of chat with them. So that was kind of my third day. Really
we didn't get to spend a lot of time with her for the rest of the week from there on in, actually, because she became unwell after that. I think it was after that night or during that night, maybe.
I think it might have been during that night. Yeah,
which was unfortunate because we really enjoyed hanging out with them.
Yeah, they're both lovely, but yeah, that was really unfortunate. I guess it's one of those things where, as much as you can be a Boy Scout about these things and plan and travel and everything else, like sometimes when you get to an event, you can injure yourself.
Shit just fucking happens.
Stuff just happens, and so she was for the rest of the trip. Basically, she'd come out and say hello, but then go back to the room.
She was not well for the rest of it, pretty much until the last day, which I think is when she was fairly well recovered. But it was the last fucking day.
Yeah, it's the last day.
Everyone's not everyone, but certainly different people are going home at different stages of the day.
Yeah. The next day, we actually went offsite again. We went offsite with the honey spoons, and we were visiting with. She just happened to have one of her oldest friends from Canada. Going to Rick's Cafe. So the Not Your Averages came along. I had to borrow a bikini from Mallory because nude resort. And you did the cliff dive again twice.
Yeah.
I really should try to post that to social media, actually. I actually have that video somewhere. Should try to post that. So you did the cliff dive twice and I guess tried to turn Mrs. Honeyspoon's vanilla friend.
I didn't.
You were joking about it. You were really taking the piss out of her.
I was having a lot of fun saying that we were going to fuck her, yeah.
Which she was not really a fan of.
But I didn't even broach that in conversation while we were there.
No.
But I did tell her the entire morning that we were going to that I was going to try and fuck her, yes. By the way, I've never, ever thought that that's something that's of interest to me.
No.
It just feels dangerous, way too dangerous. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun fucking with her.
Yeah. It was the first time we actually kind of spent some time in the pool at Rick's as well. So we just all, the 8 of us kind of just hung out, kind of spending time in the pool there at Rick's, and you did the cliff dive as well, which was quite fun for you. You did it another 2 times, so that was not bad. Again, getting off site. So it's like for us, it's kind of spending a day on site fully, and then jumping off site for a little bit.
Couldn't convince anyone else to do the cliff dive.
No, everybody else was like, "Yeah, Daryl, off you go, have some fun."
Yeah, go and die. It's only like 20 feet.
I don't know. I have no
10 meters.
Okay,
roughly. So it's not so high.
What about the local pastries that we stopped with a van?
They were fucking good.
All the boys got out of the car and went and got the pastries.
Yeah, the pastries were quite good. They were kind of, they were, for the Australians listening, which there still are some, they're kind of like pasties, but with a lot less meat in them. Yeah, they were good. I really enjoyed them. And there was chicken, beef.
No idea.
Chicken, beef, something other, like a different type of chicken. That's what I remember.
What I remember is that, so we all got one in the van on the way back. Did you buy the driver one again? I hope so.
No, he didn't want one.
He didn't want one.
No.
So on the way back to Hedo, we're sitting in the back of this van, just all chatty, having a great time, eating these local Jamaica pastries. And because they're so goddamn flaky, I was so paranoid about putting flake like pastry kind of stuff all through the driver's car because I didn't want him to get pissed off at it.
Yeah, I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, nobody else really. I don't think anybody else was like, but...
I mean, it's pastry. It's not like world-ending.
Yeah. Now, this was neon night, and I'm going to talk about what kind of happened with my neon night in a second, but you shot your shot, and you shot your shot, you shoot your shot, you had a shot of your shot.
I have no fucking idea what you're talking about.
You broached potential play with a couple, and you received some, what I'm classifying as polite rejection. And I think sometimes putting out a firm no is definitely better than a maybe. All the time putting out a firm no is definitely better than a maybe. But you approached a couple and the response was kind of wishy-washy, and it was like, maybe I have to talk to my partner. I'm not sure how, and I think what that was a polite rejection as opposed to a firm out no.
We had a polite rejection, but then only to figure out in the next few days that wasn't the case. I mean, that's okay.
Now, that night so it was neon night, which generally speaking, I think neon night for most people is up there as one of the best nights. What I will say about the whole costume thing for Hedo, we really did not organise costumes this time.
No, certainly I was way too fucking busy before this event to even contemplate it.
Both of us were, and I think we saw this as really a chance for not needing to be too stressful, right?
A bit of decompression is what we were kind of aiming for, yes.
Hence the charter flight, etc., to like make it the most smooth journey that we possibly could. So we did not put a lot of thought and planning into our costumes. Now, I actually happened to have some like really bright pink lingerie and some bright coloured shoes and things that would work for the theme. What I will say is that definitely this night was a great night. We were outside dancing, so this night they didn't have the entertainment under that roof area. They had it kind of out, and there was a little bit of a breeze and stuff like that, and I was dancing with you, and we hung out, and we watched some of the performances. And because of the fact that it was like, okay, hot and everything else, and I was just wearing lingerie, that for me was like a more comfortable, enjoyable night. The other ones were like crazy.
Yeah, agreed. They were all hot. Unfortunately, it's very difficult. Given that I hadn't planned anything, it was difficult for me to come up with things on the night as well. So it was my costumes were always lackluster at best.
Yeah.
Which is actually something that I think was shit. I didn't like that feeling. So that's something we need to not repeat as well.
Yeah. So I guess the lesson learned there is that we went in with the intention of being a bit
relaxed. And it just made it more fucking difficult.
And it made it a little bit more uncomfortable and difficult for us. What do you remember Honeyspoon and I dancing around in the buffet area?
No. No, I don't.
This was funny. We were being absolute weirdos dancing around in our lingerie and everything else in the buffet because we had buffet for dinner, and like walking around and like trying to dirty flirt with each other about like, French dressing and this sort of funny stuff. It was just hilarious. It was such a funny kind of, it just for me is
feels like it might have been one of those you had to be there scenarios.
I think but that's what I'm saying. It was like that we're both a little bit weird and we kind of were fully embracing the weirdness that night. Didn't care who was watching. And that was really delightful. We also tried to pick up Mallory as well at the bar by pretending that we were oh so lonely and we really needed a hard dick to fix us all.
Got it. And how'd that work out for you?
She was like, please get away from me now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You guys are fucking weird.
You're a bit fucking weird. Do you want to talk about the orgy invitation and how that all came about?
I mean, the original conversation was led by somebody giving a signal to, you don't remember the signal?
There was a signal, but then there was actually, the signal was a joke. There was a full-on conversation about this is who's invited. They know that I'm going to invite you. They know that there's, just because you're going, it's not consent. Like that sort of conversation is what I'm talking about.
For starters, I don't think I had any. I don't think I was deeply involved in that conversation. That what you've just issued there is basically what was discussed. I mean, it's like we know these are the people who are coming. If you're interested, you can come. Just because you're coming doesn't mean you're part of an orgy. It means that you're in a room with a group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, that was the length of the conversation, really.
Now, we did not go because this was where I was like, yeah, it sounds great. I think it was 3:34 in the morning. Sounds maybe not that late.
It wasn't that late.
2:30 maybe.
2:30.
Get back to the room to shower and everything else. And at this point, I was like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Now, later found out that they did do the circle of intentions in terms of at the event, like who's comfortable wants to do X, Y, Z. But what I found out was that there was really no room in that room anyway, so it's probably lucky and a good thing we didn't actually go because I understand space was quite limited.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know that it was a good thing we didn't go, but we didn't go.
Yeah.
It would have been a good thing if we went for different reasons. But yeah.
Now, the next day you had one of your usual days by yourself.
I had a part of a day by myself, yeah. Yeah. So just to decompress again, have a relax. Actually, it was more in this case, I think, not so much getting away from people, but more I needed to get away from the alcohol for a while, just not drink. And
the food. I don't think you didn't eat.
No, I didn't really. I mean, the food is good. Don't get me wrong, it's good, but and so is the drinks. The drinks are good as well. The issue is it's for all of this for me is the same. No matter which resort I'm at, and whether it's lifestyle or not, if it's an all inclusive, I just run out of things that I'm excited about having. Yeah, drinks or food.
Yeah,
and it's the same here. So this is not unusual. It's not isolated to just lifestyle events. It's everything.
Yeah.
Every time we go to a resort, it's the same problem.
Yeah.
So that day, I just didn't. I mean, also it's overeating. It's massive indulgence, right? It's overeating, over drinking, late nights, sexy stories, sexy play. It's all indulgent, everything.
Yeah.
And it's nice to just not
hang out,
do that. Okay. You know, like you can't. It's the equivalent of not training for a marathon. Because that's what it is, right? We don't eat or drink like that or stay up until all hours of the morning like that any other time other than we're at these events. And they're a marathon.
And then you do it in excess.
And then you do it the next day and the next day and the next day. So it's the equivalent of turning up to a marathon without any training. Actually, it's the equivalent of turning up to a marathon without wearing any fucking shoes. That's what it's the equivalent of.
Because, in a three-piece suit.
Because you've never, it's just, you've never lived like you will live at a resort. Well, you could, but you'd only do it for a year and then your fucking kidneys and liver would fail and then you'd die.
So this was the day that, as a group, a bunch of us went off-site and had lunch at the Lobster Dude down the road. So he comes.
I didn't.
You didn't.
I wasn't there.
You were there. He comes along the beach. The Lobster Dude comes along the beach with his lobsters to kind of sell his wares, and then you can go walk down the beach. So you have to leave hedonism, go through sandals, and walk down the beach to the Lobster Dude. But
I do feel sorry for the lobster he brings with him.
Me too. I kind of feel bad about it.
Poor fucking lobster.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice again to get off resort, head down, eat something different. It was a bunch of small, like not everybody came, just a bunch of us. But I have some audio.
Okay.
You want to hear it?
As long as it's not the lobster squeal as it gets thrown into the pot.
No, that would be horrible. Okay.
They do that.
Shh.
They do.
Shh.
Lobster, come see the Rasta. And I'm the one put the grill into the grill. Fireman Lobster Pit, #1 in Jamaica. And guess what? This man is my boss.
So the guy's called it's the Fireman Lobster Pit in Negril, and he walks up and down the beach, and if you engage with him, he has this kind of spiel.
Yes, although I do think that he is, his mind is somewhat otherwise engaged during his entire walk, because I feel like there's either a mountain of I think he's getting through at least the 2 ounces a day that you referred to earlier that are decriminalised, or he's very drunk, one of the two.
No, he's not.
Fuck yeah.
He's just a bit of a character, but again...
I think he's living his best life. I just don't think it's going to be a long one.
Maybe he is fucking living his best life. I ain't got no judgment.
No, I'm not casting shade. I just think it's not fucking... I don't think he's got a long life if he continues the way he's going. You can't do that, man. Although he did quote that lobsters are a cure-all, like eating lobster is good for everything.
Yeah. Like a lobster a day keeps the...
death away. Except for the lobsters.
Yeah, so that's the Fireman Lobster if you guys want to check it out. I'll put the show notes in.
Is it Fireman or Fire Pit?
Fireman Lobster Pit Negril.
Okay, got it.
Fireman Lobster Pit Negril, so yeah. That night was fetish night. Now you came out of the room, we had a bit of dinner, you got extremely sick and went back to the room.
Yes.
It was like you're a little like, okay, I'm going to, it's time to party and head out. And it's like, yeah. What I will say about this, so it was a fetish night. I wore my kind of black see-through dress and I had my tiny little flogger with me. And this was where I also had the I'm at a 4 reference from, guess who? Mrs. Honeyspoon.
You mean when you were flogging her, she said, you're at a 4. I mean, context, sweetheart. It means
no
fucking
context.
nothing
Guessing.
Yeah. Okay.
So we had that reference on the episode we did about our time in Montreal, and she gave you the you're at about a 4, kind of I'm at about a 4 reference, and I actually had one of those pre that trip to Canada in Jamaica with my little flogger.
I mean, it'd be hard to be anything above a 4 with that flogger.
I know, it's very soft.
It's not very really small and very soft. It's not a flogger. It's a fucking toy.
It's a little, yeah.
It's actually a toy. It came in a toy kit.
It's a little toy, yeah. But
yeah,
it's still quite good. Yeah.
I mean, yes. Did I make that question enough? I don't know.
Next day we went to breakfast, had a really, really long breakfast, and decided to head down and be away from the nude pool, but we went into the ocean. And there's a little kind of net around section around the ocean.
And keep the fucking sharks out, because there's sharks. Anywhere there's ocean, people, there's sharks.
I saw these little fish, and then I saw my own reflection at one point in time and absolutely fucking freaked out. Do you remember?
Yes. You thought it was a shark.
I'm such a dog.
You missed that. So that was the day they cleared the beach as well, because the day before there was still wash up coming from
various weather issues.
Yeah, because there was a whole hurricane in Florida. No, sorry, weather issues.
Now, that was a really fun day. So I like that you are hanging out, and you can hear the music, but you're not kind of in the nude pool, kind of, again, with everybody rubbing up on you.
Still nude, though. Still
nude. So, but this is the night we went to the restaurant offsite. So we all got on the big bus, the whole group got on a big bus and went to Ivan's Restaurant and Bar, which is the hotel itself is called Catch a Falling Star. And we went there and we took a few photos on sunset, and we just kind of went off-site as a crew. And that was a really, really nice...
And also the best food I ate on the entire trip.
I was about to say...
The fucking goat curry there was like fuck a dude awesome.
Yeah. That goat curry was the best that we've ever had. So if you guys get the chance to go to this place, definitely go there, because the food was perfect.
Be aware, goats are the boniest animals in the world, which means no matter what goat thing you eat, it always has bones in it.
Yeah. But that was really good. And then we all went back and we went to the piano bar, and this is where Mr. and Mrs. Honeyspoon, I guess, became the star of the evening. The guy was looking around for different people in the crowd and the piano player, and you could clearly see that he was trying to find people that didn't seem too nervous, maybe, and would be, I guess you got to read the room and figure out who's going to be interested in doing this. But he calls up Mr. and Mrs. Honeyspoon. He was like, "Hey, is that your partner?" Like, yes. Come up here, dance on the piano. Now, he gets Mrs. Honeyspoon up first, and she starts dancing all sexy. And he's like, no, Mr. Honeyspoon, you got to come up as well.
Yeah. And then from there proceeded to get them to, over the course of a song or maybe two.
Maybe two, yeah.
Proceeded to get them to change their clothing over.
Yeah.
From one to the other. No, they actually didn't strip each other off. I think they stripped themselves off and switched clothes.
Well, that was what was funny, because I remember that it started with Mrs. Honeyspoon first, of like stripping her off. And I think both Mr. Honeyspoon and everybody else in the crowd just assumed that was where it was going to go. It was, they had to strip each other off, because then the piano man was like, "Hey, no, now you've got to then do Mr. Honeyspoon." And he was such a champion, because I know this is not where he usually likes to be. And I knew, like, with the attention on him, but he was such a good sport. And I could just, as soon as the piano guy was like, "No, now you got to do that," I could feel across the room that he was like, "No," but he did it. But it was so funny. So after they then got stripped off, it was then put each other's clothes on. So yep. She started wearing his outfit, and then he had on the tiniest little black dress and G-string number, which they both pulled off.
The G-strings didn't stay on because he broke it, and then I had to fix it.
They looked good though, good sports. Would you have done that?
Yes,
you would have. Yeah,
yeah, that wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah, it's just a lot though. Like if you go to these things and they kind of put people on the spot.
So I think there's another thing to take into account here. He's also judging people on their size and weight so that they don't break the fucking piano in half.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm not sure you and I standing on the lid of a piano would be what's best for the piano.
What's best for the piano?
Well, not breaking in half is what's best for the piano, and us two on it would definitely throw it out of tune significantly.
Yeah.
But potentially snap the fucking thing in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to finish up, the next day we went on a catamaran out to the caves, and everybody did some snorkeling. I get quite seasick, so I just took some pills and everything else. But I mean, the catamaran's a big one. Some people really like it. I'm kind of much to muchness. I don't know what your thoughts are.
I thought it was great. I mean, it was nice. It was also nice to just again get away from the rinse and repeat. So it was nice to get out there, even though it was similar in many ways. You know, you're still drinking in the sun, but it was nice to just go and cruise down the coast and have a look at different things.
You jumped in and did some snorkeling?
The first location I did, yes. Yeah, I didn't at the caves. So quite a few people swam into the caves, which I didn't do, only because I was engrossed in conversation at the time. Yeah, so it was, it was good. I mean, it was lovely. It was really nice to get away and just have a bit of a relaxing time. And also it was with the group that we knew. Yeah, so it was a nice day out for sure. It's good to see the coast as well and see what it looked like from a little further
from the
out.
water. Yeah. That night was what they call Gala night at Hedonism, which I thought
Kate totally misread and gave me also a total misread.
I gave you a fucking bum steer in the biggest way.
The hugest fucking bum steer.
Well, what did you turn up in, Daryl?
A fucking suit.
And what does Gala night mean at Hedo?
It means a gala event of all of the different bands coming together and a big event, and also all the foods are all there. So it's like different foods from around the world in one place.
So it's actually Rockstar night?
Yes. So everyone's dressed as a rock star and I'm in a fucking 3-piece suit.
In the Jamaican heat.
In the Jamaican heat, which I was not happy about from the moment we left the fucking room.
So you actually went back to the room?
Fuck yeah, I went back.
To change.
Immediately. Because it was fucking steaming inside that suit. Yeah. and got changed immediately into basically gold shorts and a fucking, something else of yours to try and rock star it up.
You wore something in a tie. I don't know what you were doing, but bit of a mishmash, hodgepodge.
Well, I didn't have for starters, the only thing we prepared for the entire fucking event was the gala night. Otherwise, why the fuck would I take a suit to a
Swingers Resort?
Well, no, to a fucking clothing optional Swingers Resort. Who's taking suits? It was my full suit.
Did you iron it and everything?
Yes, I fucking ironed it. I ironed my fucking shirt, everything. Spent fucking 20, 30 minutes in the room making sure everything looked all nice and gala, only to then get there and realise that I looked like a gala rather than a fucking gala.
Anyway, that's kind of our week. We left. We almost didn't get on the plane to Canada because #visa.
Yeah, they made a visa change like the month before we arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ta-da.
Ta-da.
But yeah, we flew in and out. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was good. Definitely. But that was kind of our week at Hedonism and everything we kind of did. Obviously, not everything, but you got to bullet point this. Otherwise, we'd be talking for days.
Yeah, like probably 7.
7 days.
Because that's how long we were there.
That's how long we were there.
Yeah, so if we gave it everything, it'd be...
Yeah, not good.
I'm not sure too many people would turn up to listen to 7 days of me talking.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't like doing it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Fucking be married to me forever now. You still got the crickets on there.
I still have the crickets. I feel like that's one of the buttons that you just got to have.
Crickets?
Yeah.
They actually sound a little bit more like small group of canaries talking to each other, by the way.
Probably do. Hey, so coming up next, we're going to talk about our trip to Oasis Aqua Lounge in Toronto, our fun at New Year's Eve, which has just happened, and if we get permission, some playtime with our first Dutch couple in their fancy, fancy boudoir.
If
we get permission.
Yes. We haven't gotten that yet.
We have not.
They may tell us to fuck off.
They may.
Which I wouldn't be surprised. They'd tell you to fuck off.
They would not.
Yeah, totally. They'd be like,
they totally
fuck
would not.
you, Kate.
Yeah. So that was kind of our week. Thanks for sticking around. We know that might have been a little bit boring for you guys to kind of listen to.
Fuck. I mean, if that's boring, then, shit. Just shit. I mean, it was a fucking spectacular week with a lot of fun and a lot of sexy times, even though, there was only one sexploration while we were there. Yeah. But it was a lot of fun. But, yeah, just don't break your back in the plane on the way there next time.
Yeah. And I guess this is another one of those things where it's like you meet all these great people, but they're just spread all over the world, right? And then it's just hard to kind of get back together with them again.
Yeah, the only place we're going to do that is either Desire or Hedo, right? That's really where it's going to happen. And they are, I can't speak highly enough of the group of people that we went with. They were fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And even, as a understanding of that, we had a chat group before we went and we still have one and it's still now. And everyone was still talking about New Year's on New Year's. So they're obviously not only sexy people, but they're very good people as well. So I'd happily spend time with them and I'd happily have them stay in my house.
Well, that's another thing too. We have open-ended invitations to so many places around the world at the moment because everyone's like, yeah, if you ever get to Carolina, like come and you can hang out with us.
All we need is the money.
Hang out with our dogs.
It's just the money.
We'll show you around.
Yeah. The money in the holidays.
Just the money and the days off work, yeah.
Yeah, just that.
Hey, credit card company.
Fuck, yeah. So if Visa, Maestro, MasterCard, American
Diners
Express
Club.
or Diners is wanting to sponsor our fucking travel, absolutely open to that.
If you want to sponsor us to go and have sex with other people, please send an email to email@wanderlustswingers.com.
By the way, I'm pretty sure they're all trademarks, so please don't fucking sue us.
Please don't. Well, we don't have any money. We spend it all on this fucking holiday, so there you go. No, the guys, thanks very much for listening, and we'll be back with you guys soon.
Ciao.